The Journey of the Middle Kingdom, A History of China. For over 5,000 years, China has stood as one of the world's oldest continuous civilizations, a land of dynasties and revolutions, philosophers and warriors, triumph and tragedy. From the ancient Yellow River Valley to the gleaming metropolises of today, China's story is one of extraordinary continuity and dramatic transformation. This is the journey of the Middle Kingdom, a tale that has shaped not only a nation, but the course of human history itself. Chinese history begins along the Yellow River, where legend meets history. The 3 sovereigns and 5 emperors, mythical sage kings, laid the foundations of Chinese culture. Around 2070 BCE, the Xia dynasty emerged as China's first recorded dynasty, though its existence remains shrouded in mystery. What we know for certain is that by 1600 BCE, the Shang dynasty had established the foundations of Chinese civilization. The Shang dynasty marked China's first historically verified civilization. They developed bronze metallurgy, the earliest writing system, and a complex social hierarchy centered around the divine mandate of kings. In 1046 BCE, the Zhou dynasty overthrew the Shang, introducing a revolutionary concept that would echo through Chinese history, the mandate of heaven. This divine sanction proclaimed that rulers governed by heaven's will, but could lose this mandate through moral corruption or incompetence. Yet the Zhou's feudal system eventually fractured. The fragmentation led to the Spring and Autumn period and the Warring States era. But from this chaos emerged China's greatest philosophical traditions. Confucius taught moral governance and social harmony. Laozi founded Taoism, emphasizing harmony with nature. Sun Tzu wrote The Art of War. Legalists like Han Feizi advocated strict laws and centralized power. In 221 BCE, Qin Shi Huang achieved what had seemed impossible, the unification of China. The first emperor standardized currency, writing, measurements, and laws. He connected existing walls into the Great Wall to defend against northern nomads. But his greatest monument lies buried in Xi'an, an army of 8,000 terracotta warriors, crafted to guard him in death. Yet the Qin dynasty's harsh legalist policies sparked rebellion, ending Qing's brief reign. Peasants and nobles alike rose against crushing taxes and brutal punishments. The empire that took decades to build collapsed in just 15 years. From the Qing's ashes rose the Han dynasty, whose name became synonymous with Chinese identity. The Han perfected the imperial system, balancing Confucian ideals with practical governance. They opened the Silk Road, connecting China to Central Asia and beyond. The Han era witnessed remarkable innovations: paper, the compass, and seismographs. Sima Qian wrote the first comprehensive history of China, establishing the template for recording dynastic cycles. The Han dynasty's 4-century reign set the standard for Chinese civilization. But corruption and peasant revolts, like the Yellow Turban Rebellion, led to collapse. The fall of the Han ushered in 4 centuries of division. The Three Kingdoms period became legendary through romance and folklore, but the reality was devastating warfare. Yet this fragmentation also brought cultural exchange. Buddhism arrived from India, transforming Chinese spirituality and art. The Sui dynasty forcibly reunified China, constructing the Grand Canal to link north and south. Though short-lived, the Sui laid foundations for China's greatest dynasty, the Tang. Under the Tang, China became the world's most powerful empire. Chang'an, the capital, housed over 1 million people, the largest city on earth. The Silk Road flourished, bringing foreign merchants, ideas, and religions to China's cosmopolitan cities. The Tang produced China's only female emperor, Wu Zetian, who ruled with remarkable skill for over 4 decades. This was the golden age of Chinese poetry, when Li Bai and Du Fu crafted verses still memorized by schoolchildren today. But even golden ages must end. The An Lushan rebellion devastated the empire. Though the Tang survived, they never fully recovered. Regional warlords gained power, and the dynasty finally collapsed in 907 CE. After another period of division, the the Song dynasty ushered in perhaps China's greatest cultural renaissance. Though militarily weaker than their predecessors, the Song achieved unprecedented prosperity through trade and innovation. The Song perfected printing, making books widely available for the first time. They invented gunpowder weapons, mechanical clocks, and advanced metallurgy. Neo-Confucianism emerged, blending Confucian ethics with metaphysical speculation. Yet Song prosperity couldn't withstand the Mongol storm. Genghis Khan's descendants conquered northern China, and Kublai Khan completed the conquest in 1279, establishing the Yuan dynasty. Under Mongol rule, China became part of history's largest land empire. The Yuan dynasty welcomed foreign merchants like Marco Polo, whose accounts introduced China to medieval Europe. Yet Mongol rule remained fundamentally foreign to many Chinese. Economic hardship and natural disasters sparked rebellion. A peasant named Zhu Yunzheng emerged as leader, eventually founding the Ming dynasty in 1368, one of history's most remarkable rises from poverty to imperial power. The Ming dynasty restored Han rule, began with unprecedented ambition. The Yongle Emperor moved the capital to Beijing, constructing the magnificent Forbidden City and the Great Wall we know today. Admiral Zheng He led 7 massive naval expeditions reaching Southeast Asia, India, and Africa decades before Columbus. Yet after 1433, China turned inward. The emperors banned maritime expeditions and restricted foreign trade. This isolation would prove costly as European powers began their age of exploration and expansion. By the late Ming period, corruption, fiscal crisis, and natural disasters weakened the dynasty. Peasant rebellions erupted across the empire while Manchu forces gathered strength beyond the Great Wall. In 1644, the Ming dynasty fell to a coalition of rebels and Manchu invaders. The Qing dynasty would become China's last imperial house. The Manchus imposed their culture most visibly through the Q hairstyle while adopting Chinese administrative systems. Under emperors like Kangxi and Qianlong, the Qing expanded China to its greatest territorial extent, incorporating Tibet, Xinjiang, and Mongolia. The 18th century marked the height of Chinese power and prosperity. Yet China's isolation left it unprepared for the modern world. British merchants, frustrated by trade restrictions, began smuggling opium into China. When Chinese officials tried to stop this destructive trade, Britain responded with war. The First Opium War shattered Chinese confidence. Advanced British warships and weapons easily defeated Qing forces. The Treaty of Nanjing forced China to cede Hong Kong and open treaty ports to foreign trade and residents. The Second Opium War brought further humiliation. Foreign armies occupied Beijing and burned the Summer Palace. China was forced to grant more concessions and allow Christian missionaries throughout the empire. While facing foreign pressure, the Qing confronted massive internal rebellions. The Taiping Rebellion, led by Hong Xiuquan, who believed himself the brother of Jesus Christ, devastated southern China. Reformers launched the self-strengthening movement, attempting to adopt Western technology while preserving Chinese culture. They built arsenals, shipyards, and schools. Yet these efforts proved insufficient against the pace of change. China's weakness became apparent in the First Sino-Japanese War. Japan, recently modernized, easily defeated Chinese forces and seized Taiwan and Korea. The Boxer Rebellion represented a final spasm of anti-foreign sentiment. Empress Dowager Cixi supported the Boxers' attack on foreigners and Chinese Christians. 8 foreign armies invaded China to suppress the uprising, imposing another humiliating treaty. Revolutionary sentiment grew unstoppable. Sun Yat-sen, the father of modern China, promoted his 3 principles: nationalism, democracy, and people's livelihood. The Wuchang Uprising in October 1911 triggered the final imperial collapse. On February 12, 1912, the 6-year-old Puyi abdicated, ending over 2,000 years of imperial rule. The Republic of China was born, but the transition to democracy proved chaotic. Yuan Shikai attempted to restore monarchy with himself as emperor, triggering widespread rebellion. After his death in 1916, China fragmented among competing warlords, each controlling different regions. The May 4th movement marked China's intellectual awakening. Students protested the Treaty of Versailles' unfair treatment of China, demanding science, democracy, and national strength. This movement introduced Marxism to Chinese intellectuals. In 1921, the Chinese Communist Party was founded in Shanghai. Japan's full-scale invasion in 1937 ravaged China. Japanese forces committed horrific atrocities, including the Nanjing Massacre, where hundreds of thousands of civilians were killed. Japan's surrender in 1945 ended World War II, but resumed the Chinese Civil War. By 1949, Mao Zedong's communists defeated Chiang Kai-shek's nationalists, who fled to Taiwan. Mao proclaimed the People's Republic of China from Beijing's Tiananmen Square. From the oracle bones of the Shang to the smartphones of Shenzhen, China's journey spans 4 millennia of continuous civilization. Through dynasties and revolutions, invasions and innovations, the Chinese people have endured, adapted, and flourished. Today, China stands at another historical crossroads. With over 1.4 billion people and the world's second-largest economy, its choices will shape not only China's future, but the destiny of our interconnected world. As the ancient sage Lao Tzu wrote, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. China's journey continues, carrying the wisdom of its past toward a promising future. As it shapes the 21st century, the Middle Kingdom's legacy endures, a civilization forever balancing tradition and transformation.
Thanks for watching.